He sat on the edge of his bed, looking at the quiet room around him. The clock on the wall showed almost midnight. The city outside seemed silent. But inside his small apartment, something felt wrong, very wrong. He could feel it in the air, heavy and strange, like the air itself was warning him. The alien, his unusual roommate, had been acting nervous all evening. The tall figure with pale skin and glowing eyes had walked from window to window, pulling curtains tight, checking every corner of the apartment. It was not the first time his roommate had been strange, but tonight it felt different, more serious, more dangerous. When he asked what was happening, the alien only looked at him and whispered, "Stay in your room tonight, do not come out, no matter what you hear." His voice was sharp, almost like a command. Then the alien locked the bedroom door from the outside. The sound of the lock clicking made his heart jump. He was trapped inside his own room, and he had no idea why. At first, he thought it was some kind of joke. Maybe his roommate was testing him. Maybe it was just one of those alien habits he didn't understand. But soon he realized it was not a joke at all, because the night was not silent anymore. The night had a voice, and it was full of strange sounds from the hallway. He heard the floorboards creak, slow footsteps, heavy, unnatural, not like a human, not like his roommate either. Then came a low scratching sound on the wall. Like claws dragging across the paint, he froze. His breath caught in his chest. His eyes wide, the sound grew louder, closer, like something was crawling right outside his door. He wanted to call out, to ask his roommate what was happening. But before he could speak, a whisper came through the door. It was the alien's voice again. "Do not make a sound. Stay inside." The whisper was soft, urgent, and it sent a shiver down his spine. The alien's words sounded less like advice and more like a warning, as if his life depended on it. Minutes felt like hours. His phone screen dimmed and the battery showed only 8%. The dim blue light gave the room an eerie glow. He held it in his hand like a small shield, as if the tiny light could protect him from whatever was outside. The footsteps in the hallway stopped. But the silence was even worse. Silence meant something was waiting. His heart pounded harder with every second. He placed his ear near the wooden door, and that was when he heard it. A slow breath, long and deep, coming from the other side. Not human, not like anything he had ever heard before. It was as if something was sniffing the air, searching for him. He stumbled back from the door, his body shaking. He wanted to scream, but fear held his voice inside his throat. He sat on the bed, gripping the blanket like it was his last hope, his mind racing with questions. Why did the alien lock him in? What was outside? And what would happen if the thing found him? The door handle moved, slowly turning, as if someone or something was trying to come in. His heart nearly stopped, and in that moment, he knew one thing for sure. This was not an ordinary night. This was the night everything would change. He could still hear the faint sound of the door handle moving, but then it stopped. Silence fell again, a silence that was heavy and painful. He sat on the bed with his hands shaking, his mind asking the same question again and again. Why did his alien roommate lock him inside? To understand tonight, he thought back to how it all began. Weeks ago, when he first met the alien, the strange roommate who never shared too much, never explained his past but always kept his distance. The alien looked human enough if someone glanced quickly. Tall, thin, pale skin, dark hair that almost looked normal, but his eyes gave him away. They glowed faintly, like two tiny stars hidden in the dark, impossible to hide. At first, living with him was not so bad. He was quiet, polite, and always paid rent on time, but there were rules. Rules that never made sense, like keeping windows shut at night, never leaving food out after midnight, and never, ever asking about where he went during the late hours. He never explained, only said, "It is for your safety," and smiled. A smile that was friendly but carried secrets. Tonight, though, the alien was not smiling. When the sun set, his movements changed. His eyes kept flashing toward the windows. His hands trembled as he pulled curtains shut. He locked the front door twice, then whispered strange words in a language the human didn't understand. It sounded like a prayer or maybe a warning to someone unseen. When the human asked what was happening, the alien turned with sudden sharpness. "You must stay in your room tonight. Do not leave, no matter what you hear." His voice carried fear, real fear, and that was what scared the human most. Because if an alien could be afraid, then something truly dangerous was coming. He remembered those words now as he sat in the locked bedroom. Outside in the apartment, he could hear soft thuds, like something heavy moving around. His chest grew tight. He wanted to run, but he was trapped. The alien's warning echoed in his mind. Stay inside. but staying inside felt like waiting for doom. From the other side of the door, he finally heard his roommate again. The alien's whisper was quick and low. "They are here earlier than I thought." His tone carried both anger and fear. "Stay quiet. If you make noise, they will smell you." The words sent a chill through him, the way someone might talk about wild animals hunting at night. His heartbeat was so loud he thought even that could give him away. He pressed his hand over his mouth, trying to control his breath. He could hear his alien roommate moving in the hallway. Careful steps, slow, like he was stalking something, and then a loud crash shook the walls. Something had entered the apartment, something that did not belong. The human shut his eyes tight, wishing it was a dream, but he knew it was real. The alien had warned him for weeks, through strange rules and mysterious habits. But tonight the warning was clear. This night was not safe. The predators had come, and he was the prey. The room was dark, and the silence pressed on him like a heavy blanket. But then the silence broke, broken by sounds he had never heard before. It began as a faint scratching, slow and sharp, like nails dragging across wood. The sound came from the hallway, from right outside the locked bedroom door. His skin went cold. He held his breath, trying not to move, but the sound grew louder. Scraping, pausing, scraping again, as if something was testing the walls, searching for him. He wanted to whisper his roommate's name, to ask if it was safe, but fear closed his throat. The warning echoed in his head. "Do not make a sound." So he stayed silent, sitting on the edge of the bed, staring at the door as if it could answer his questions. Then came the footsteps. Heavy, slow, not like human feet. Each step seemed to sink into the floor, making the wooden boards creak and groan. The sound moved closer, step by step, until it stopped right outside his door. His heart pounded so loud he was sure the thing outside could hear it. The door handle rattled, but only for a second. Then a deep sound filled the air, a low growl like an animal that was hungry. He had grown up with dogs, but this was not a dog. This was something far bigger, far more dangerous. The growl rolled through the air, making his bones vibrate. He backed away from the door, pressing himself against the wall, clutching the blanket like it was his last protection. The shadows in the room seemed to move with him, stretching and twisting in the dim light of his dying phone screen. Just when he thought he could not take it anymore, a voice came, soft but clear. It was the alien whispering through the door, "Do not open it, no matter what you hear." The words struck him with a mix of relief and terror. His roommate was still there, still watching, still fighting. But if he had to warn him again, it meant the danger was real, closer than ever. The scratching returned, only now it was higher, against the ceiling. He looked up and froze. Dust fell from the cracks between the boards above him. Something was crawling on the ceiling right above his head. The thought made his stomach twist. He had never imagined fear could feel like this, like every inch of his body wanted to run, but there was nowhere to go. He wanted to believe his roommate had control, that the alien knew what he was doing. But the noises kept changing, kept growing. A sudden thud shook the wall, and the lamp on his table fell, crashing to the floor. The sound echoed like a signal. The growling outside grew sharper, more excited, as if the creature had heard him, as if it knew exactly where he was. He crawled under the bed, trembling, his breath short and fast, his ears filled with the sound of claws against the walls. For the first time, he wondered if staying inside the bedroom was safe at all, or if it was a trap waiting to close on him. The scratching above him stopped, replaced by silence, but it was not the kind of silence that brought peace. It was the kind that warned of something waiting, watching. He stayed under the bed, holding his breath, every muscle in his body stiff, his eyes locked on the door. The shadows in the room felt alive, stretching longer with every second. Then, without warning, the door shook violently, as if something massive had slammed against it. The lock rattled, the wood groaned. He covered his mouth with both hands to keep from screaming. Another slam followed, harder than the first. Dust fell from the ceiling, and the frame of the bed creaked under his weight. And then, it stopped. For a moment, he thought it was over. He thought maybe the alien had driven the thing away. But then the impossible happened. The door handle turned, not gently this time, but with strength, with force. The lock clicked once, twice, then broke with a loud crack. The door flew open, smashing against the wall. A figure stepped inside. It was not human. It was not even close. Its body was tall and twisted, skin pale and stretched like old leather, eyes black and shining like pools of oil. Its mouth opened too wide, filled with rows of sharp, uneven teeth. Its arms were long, ending in claws that scraped the wooden floor as it walked. Every step was slow, deliberate, as if it enjoyed the fear it caused. The human froze under the bed, his body trembling so violently he thought the creature could hear his heartbeat. The thing sniffed the air, a deep wet sound, its head jerking side to side. It was searching for him. Before it could take another step, a loud voice cut through the air. "Get away from him." It was the alien. He burst into the room, his eyes glowing brighter than ever, his hands holding a weapon that looked like nothing from Earth. It was long, metallic, humming with blue light that vibrated the walls. The creature turned and roared, a sound that shook the air and made the window glass crack. The alien raised the weapon, and in a single motion, a beam of light shot forward, striking the creature's chest. The blast was bright, filling the room with a flash of blue and white. The creature screamed, a sound so sharp it made his ears ring. The alien shouted back to the human, his voice firm and commanding, "Stay back. Do not move." From under the bed, the human watched in horror as the two beings clashed. The creature lunged forward, claws slicing the air, but the alien moved fast, faster than any human could. The weapon cut through the darkness, each strike lighting up the room. The walls shook, the floor cracked, and the air filled with the smell of burning wood and something far worse. The smell of burning flesh. For the first time, the human understood why his roommate had locked him in. It was not to trap him. It was to protect him. And now, as he watched the alien stand against the monster, he realized something even more terrifying. This was not the first time. The monster staggered back from the blast, its chest smoking, but it did not fall. It only grew louder, roaring with fury. Its claws dug into the floor, tearing up wooden planks as if they were paper. The alien stepped forward, weapon raised, his glowing eyes locked on the beast. The human crawled out from under the bed, but only far enough to see, his body trembling, his breath sharp and shallow. He wanted to run, but his legs refused to move. He could not look away. The creature lunged, moving faster than its heavy body should allow. The alien dodged, spinning to the side, striking with the glowing weapon. Sparks flew as claws clashed against light, the sound sharp like metal scraping against stone. The walls shook with every blow. The fight moved from the bedroom into the hallway. The alien shouted, "Stay inside!" before slamming the door halfway shut with his foot. But the human could still see shadows moving wildly, hear the thunder of bodies colliding, the growls and shouts filling every corner of the apartment. A crash echoed as the creature smashed into the living room, knocking over the table and sending glass shattering across the floor. The alien followed, striking again, his weapon cutting through the air in bright arcs. Each strike left glowing marks on the walls, burning lines that hissed like fire. The human's fear grew, but so did his curiosity. He crept to the doorway, peeking through the gap. What he saw made his blood run cold. The monster's form seemed to shift, its body stretching and twisting as if it had no bones. Its arms split into two more limbs, claws scraping in every direction. It slammed one arm into the alien, sending him crashing into the wall. The alien groaned but rose quickly, blood on his lips, weapon still in hand. The human's heart ached to help, but he had nothing. No weapon, no strength, only fear. Still, he whispered to himself, "He's fighting for me." The alien attacked again, faster now, his movements almost a blur. He leapt onto the creature's back, driving the glowing weapon deep into its shoulder. The monster howled, spinning violently, smashing furniture as it tried to shake him off. The apartment filled with dust, smoke, and the stench of burning. The human ducked as a piece of the ceiling fell, landing inches away from him. The building itself seemed ready to collapse. He wanted to scream, but he bit his lip and stayed silent, knowing one sound could draw the creature's attention. Finally, with one final strike, the alien drove the weapon into the monster's chest. Light exploded, filling the apartment with a blinding glow. The creature shrieked and staggered back, crashing into the wall so hard it left a deep crater. Then with a final roar, it tore itself free and fled through the window, glass shattering as it vanished into the night. The room was silent again, but this silence felt different, like the calm after a storm. The alien dropped to one knee, his chest rising and falling heavily. Blood stained his shirt, his face pale with exhaustion. He looked back at his human roommate, his voice low but steady. "This is only the beginning." The apartment smelled of smoke and broken wood, shards of glass scattered across the floor, and the night air crept in through the shattered window. The human stared at his roommate, The alien, who was now on one knee, gripping his glowing weapon with one hand and pressing the other against his bleeding side. For the first time, the human saw something beyond fear. He saw weakness. His alien roommate, who always looked calm and in control, now looked tired, hurt, and fragile. He rushed forward, kneeling beside him. "You're bleeding," he whispered, his voice shaking. The alien gave a small, tired smile. "It is nothing. I have had worse." But his pale face and trembling hands told a different story. The human wanted answers. He had lived with this strange being for weeks, maybe months, and never understood who or what he really was. But after tonight, the silence could not continue. "What was that thing? Why did it come here? Why did you lock me in?" The alien's glowing eyes softened. He looked at the human as if choosing each word with care. Finally, he said, "I was sent here for you." The human blinked, confused. "For me? What do you mean?" The alien leaned back against the broken wall, his voice heavy but steady. "The creatures you saw tonight are hunters. They cross from my world into yours during the darkest nights. They are drawn to human life, to your energy, your spirit. To them, humans are food." The human felt his stomach twist. Food? His mind raced with the sound of claws, the growls, the way the monster had sniffed the air. It all made sense now. The alien nodded slowly. "I was assigned to guard one human from them. You." The words hit him harder than any monster's roar. "Me? Why me?" The alien closed his eyes for a moment. "Because you are important. Not just to me, but to something greater. Your kind has not seen the truth yet. But some humans carry something special inside them. A light the hunters cannot resist, and you are one of them." The human's heart pounded, not from fear this time, but from the weight of those words. He had always seen himself as ordinary, just another face in the crowd. But now, sitting in the ruins of his apartment, he was being told he was the reason monsters came at night. "I never told you," the alien continued, his voice low, "because I did not want you to live in fear. I thought I could keep them away without you knowing. But tonight, they came sooner, stronger. They are learning. And I cannot fight them forever." The human swallowed hard, staring at the weapon in the alien's hands. It hummed softly, still glowing faint blue. "Then what happens now?" The alien looked at him, pain in his eyes but also a spark of determination. "Now you must decide. You can run and hide or you can stand with me, because more are coming." The human felt a chill run through his body. He looked at the broken window, the dark night outside, and then at his wounded roommate. For the first time, he realized this fight was not just about survival, it was about truth. The room was quiet but not safe. Outside the broken window, the night seemed alive, filled with whispers, distant growls, and the faint echo of claws against stone. The alien stood slowly, gripping his weapon even though his body shook with pain. The human rose beside him, his legs unsteady but his eyes burning with something new. Resolve. "They are not gone," the alien said softly, his gaze fixed on the darkness outside. "That one will return and it will not be alone." The human swallowed, fear pressing on his chest. "Then we fight." The alien turned to him, his expression mixed with surprise and pride. "You would fight even knowing what they are?" The human nodded. "You've been protecting me all this time. I can't just sit and hide." "Not anymore." The alien studied him for a moment, then placed the glowing weapon in his hands. The human felt its weight. It was heavier than it looked, warm and alive, humming with strange energy. "This weapon responds to will," the alien explained. "Focus, do not think of fear. Think of what you want to protect." Before he could answer, the window shattered again. The creature returned, larger than before, and behind it came two more, crawling on the walls like spiders. Their black eyes gleamed in the moonlight, their teeth dripping with hunger. The alien raised his fists, though wounded, and shouted, "Stay behind me!" But the human stepped forward instead, the weapon glowing brighter in his hands. His heart thundered, but his fear turned into fire. The first creature lunged, claws outstretched, but the human raised the weapon and swung. A beam of light exploded, cutting through the air and striking the monster's chest. The force threw it back into the hallway wall, roaring in pain. The alien's eyes widened. "You did it." The human gripped the weapon tighter. "We did it." Together they fought. The alien moved with speed, striking the second creature, while the human faced the third. Each step shook his body with fear, but every swing of the weapon filled him with strength. The glow grew brighter, brighter than when the alien had held it, as if the weapon itself knew who it was meant for. The battle raged through the apartment, furniture crashing, walls cracking, the air filled with light and roars. The human screamed with effort as he drove the weapon into one creature's chest, the alien blasting another with pure energy. Side by side, they fought like one. Finally, as the first light of dawn broke through the window, the creatures shrieked. Their bodies twisted, fading into black smoke that dissolved in the sunlight. The night hunters were gone. Silence returned, broken only by their heavy breathing. The apartment was destroyed, but they were alive. The alien placed a hand on the human's shoulder, his voice weak but filled with pride. "You are ready now. They will come again, but you will not face them alone." The human looked at the rising sun, the weapon still glowing faintly in his hands. He was no longer just a roommate, no longer just a target. He was part of something greater, but deep inside a question lingered. If the hunters could find him once, how long until they returned again?